We call these quality questions, okay? And there are two types. The first, oh, too quick, going too quick. The first type is to focus or pinpoint your mind on something, okay? Focus or pinpoint your mind, okay? The second one is to engage your imagination and become creative, okay? So I want to break these questions down for you, okay? I'm going to do it on a flip chart. I'm going to use the flip chart a bit more than just the slides these days, get a little bit more interactive. So, the first type is a focused question. Okay? When you've got a focused question, you will have words in it like will and need and do. Okay? Let me go back to, oh, we're up to 27, that's very good. Right, Pete, I'm going to pick on you for a moment. In the chat box, if that's all right, Pete, I'm going to ask you a question. When you worked in the office, okay, how did you get home? Okay, how would you get home when you worked in the office? Just give me an answer to that. By car or by bike? Nice. He's put the motorbike in there as well. Love it. Brilliant. Yeah? So the question was very, very focused. How will you get home? How would you get home? You could say the word would instead of will. How did you get home? It's a very, very focused question. Okay? How will you get home? How would you get home? How did you get home? What it does is it focuses the mind into one answer, or maybe two, as Pete's given us, yeah? But no more than that, that'd be it, okay? So that's what we would class as a focus question. And focus questions, they have their place when you're prioritizing, but they're not very good at creative thinking, okay? So if you get people in a room and go, how will we fix this? The word will is a focused word. So what that does is it narrows people down to maybe one or two answers like Pete's just given us there, okay? So we don't want to use the focus question when we're trying to generate ideas. What we want to use is an engagement question, a creative question, whatever you want to call it, okay? So if I put creative here. Now, these questions have words like could, might, and possibly in there, okay? So, Pete, I'm going to ask you another question, but everybody else that's on the call, I would like you to help Pete answer this question. Now, bearing in mind, anything goes, just to suspend reality for a moment, okay? Pete, when you work in the, when you were working in the office or are in the future working in the office, how could you possibly get home? So notice the question. How could you possibly get home? Now, anybody can do this. Now, look, Pete's already ahead of the game here. Yeah? Fly, run, swim, walk, cycle, walk. Eddie's put fly. Okay? Keep going, guys. How could Pete possibly get home from work? Hoverboard, Mick, like it. I love it. Bring it. Some of you will be thinking these are silly. Don't worry. Thumb a lift. Right. Okay, Tallyport, nice, hop, brilliant, unicycle, lovely, now we're getting there, right? Heelys, I love it, brilliant. Now, stop where you are for a moment, right? Something has just happened, he would skip. Something has just happened during that process. First of all, you'll notice straight away, there's lots of answers, rather than one or two. Okay, so the fact that we said could and possibly in the question engages people's imaginations and it comes up. Now, if we take Pete's answers out the equation for the moment, because Pete knew what was coming as well, right? Looking at your answers there, we had fly, hoverboard that came before thumbing a lift. Okay, those answers came before he could get a lift, thumb a lift, or even ask for a lift off somebody else. And you might argue getting a lift, quite a sensible one, isn't it? But what the brain is doing here is getting rid of some ideas to get to some new ideas. That's the way the brain works. Your brain's like when it comes into thinking, it's like a hopper, okay? And albeit Mick has put Heelys at the bottom there, well, it's a possibility. I'd like to see it. But it's not within the realms of impossibility, is it? I'm sure Pete could go and buy some Heelys and Heely home. I'm pretty sure that's the case, yeah? So even though it may sound silly, it's a possibility, and that possibility might move on into, okay, well actually, what does that really mean? Well actually on Heelys using wheels, so actually using wheels, well he could have his bike, could have his car, could, whatever, right? So the point I'm making is your brain is like a hopper when it comes to creative thinking. You have an idea, you write it down, and this is why we're going to write some down in a moment. You have an idea, write it down, you slot another one in. You have an idea, you write it down, you slot another one in. You have an idea, you write it down, you slot another one in. That's how your brain works, but you have to do it at speed for it to work properly. And I'm going to take you through how to do that right now, okay? But I want you to bear in mind, first learning point for today, if you want to get creative thinking out, you have to ask a creative question. So the difference between these two, let's just use this £16 million project that I've heard you guys just talk about, yeah? If you sit in a room and go, how will we deliver this? How will we deliver this? Then you're going to get answers of what you've done in the past. That's what will come up. If you sit there and go, how could we possibly deliver this? Then you're probably going to get more answers out of people, and you're going to get a better creative thinking on the way. Now don't get me wrong, there'll be some stuff in there that you've done before, that's fine, but there might be some new stuff that you haven't come across before, okay? You guys are having to deliver your business in a different way now than you did 6 months ago. And the reason that you got there is because you were forced into some possibility thinking, okay? Albeit, I do say this not to give any of you senior guys a pat on the back or a big head, but you guys were quite forward thinking where you could see this coming. Obviously you had your Italy connection as well, and you started going, you know, I remember Pete phoning me 2 weeks before lockdown going, John, how are you handling this? What are you doing with this? What preparations are you putting in place? So the possibility thinking started a few weeks prior to lockdown, whereas actually if we hadn't have had lockdown, we'd still be doing what we've always done, if that makes sense. So this is why it's so important. So, learning point number one, if you want creative thinking, ask a creative question. It's got to have words like could, might, or possibly in there.